So I got that recorded. Just a question: how's everybody making out since the event? So this is our fourth webinar here. How are you guys getting along? Are you able to move through the steps? Are you into the master trader? How's everybody doing? I want to know how you guys are doing. I want to know if this has been of value for you guys. That's kind of the key to these onboarding. This is a little something extra we did. You guys are the first group to have this, so I want to make sure that you guys are getting value out of this. So has this been helpful? Going well. Applied for an IB account. Very good. John Ashton, very helpful. Good. So Jocelyn, awesome. Applied for an IB account. Excellent. Very good. So Dan and Cecilia are watching Master Trading videos. Excellent. Nancy making progress in the right direction. Awesome. Very good. And my buddy Pierre and Brian. Just wait for the response and then we'll go. Still watching the Master Trader. That's good. That's the first step, right? That's what you really got to dive into that because that's going to be your foundation for everything else. So that's very good. Mohammed's watching Master Trader as well. Very good. Awesome. I'll let Brian and Pierre finish here, and then we'll get going. Pierre, so next time previous started watching them today. Nope, that's okay, Pierre. That's why we record them. Not everybody's going to have the same schedule, so it works out well. We can record them, and then you can watch them at your leisure. And then if there's things that you need to see again, they're always there. That's the beauty of it. So, okay. All right, my buddy Brian's typing there. All right, so only started master trading, was catching some pips with Forex, got over 300 pips with GJ and GN today. Nice job. Well done, Brian. Okay, let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen with you. If I drop out, just bear with me. Should be okay. Okay, can you guys tell me if you can see my Interactive Brokers paper account? Okay, we got 3 yeses. I'm hoping everybody else can see it. Okay, so when I spoke to you guys at the event there, I basically told you the same thing I tell everybody is I use 2 different platforms. I use the Thinkorswim because the setup is better, and I use Interactive Brokers because the commissions are better, and it really boils down to that. Now, the pain for some folks is that they got to learn 2 platforms, okay? Now, you could spend a lot of time on Interactive Brokers here. They have a whole host of tools that if you wanted to learn, you absolutely could. It's been my experience, and again, you always have that option to learn other stuff, but it's been my experience that I only use probably about 1/3 of this website, okay, or the 1/3 of this platform. And the reason being is because I get everything I need out of Thinkorswim, and then I come here to enter my trades, and I find it very basic. But I'm going to show you guys how to get more involved. If you need to learn other things with this, I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. We're going to talk about building a watch list. You can see that I've got a few up here already, but I'll go through and just make up a short one for you. We're going to talk about buy and sell orders. We're going to talk about stock. I'll show you about how to get the option chains up. Like I said, there's a whole bunch more here that I could probably spend the next 6 months probably teaching you how to use this, but it may not be worth your while to do so. You're going to find that once you get the basics from Interactive Brokers here, you'll be able to navigate the rest. Okay. So as I go along, if you guys have any questions, comments, please type them in. I want to make sure everybody's happy here. So, all right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is where to go for help. Okay, so obviously you guys have my email. You can always email me and I'll answer any questions you have. But if you're into Interactive Brokers here, oh, by the way, I guess I should back up a step here. Once you have a live Interactive Brokers account, you have a paper account that is associated with it. Okay, you'll see up here at the top, I got simulated trading here. If you don't know what your paper account is, all you have to do is click into account and then go to account management home, and it will take you to a third party. Well, it'll actually take you to Interactive Brokers website, not a third party website. Okay. And so once you get into this account management home here, what you can do is you can go into manage account. Okay. Now in this one, because I'm already in the paper trading, it won't be there. But what you'll see in here is you'll see a bunch of tabs down here, and one of them will be settings. If you click on that settings, then it will give you an option for paper account, and it will actually show you what your paper account is. Okay. So just know, like I said, once you have a live active account, you can always paper trade in IB to get the feel for it, much like you're doing in Thinkorswim right now. Okay, so I'll get out of that. I just want to show you guys that. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you is this help button here. Okay, so when you go to the help button here, you've got a bunch of different choices here. The guides and documentation are hands down the best thing out there. Like I said, I can teach you a bunch of this stuff, and I'll probably teach it a lot quicker than they would teach it to you. But if you want to get a little bit deeper into this stuff, or if you run into a problem where you're not quite sure what's going on, go to this help button, go to guides and documentation. You can go to the Mosaic Quick Tour. So there's two different types of Trader Workstation. Okay, so this platform that you're seeing is called Trader Workstation. And you can see down here, if you look down to the left-hand side at the bottom, it says Classic TWS. That's Classic Trader Workstation, okay? And it gives you a view like this. Now, I personally like the old one, but then again, I've been using it for a number of years. Some people like it, some people don't, and that's absolutely fine, okay? But if you don't like this platform, you can always click on Mosaic, and it's going to give you something completely different, okay? So now it'll give you a big chart and buy and sell buttons and all sorts of stuff on here. I'm not going to get into that too much tonight. Like I said, you can always go through the quick tour, and it'll show you everything you need to know. Okay, I personally like Classic TWS because it's a lot simpler, and there's less noise, background noise, if you will. Some people like to have all sorts of crazy things on their platform. I like to keep it simple. Okay. So, like I said, if you go to the help and you go to the guides and documentation here, you can do the quick tour. You can do a platform overview. These will be videos or write-ups, online users guys. But one I find the best is this tutorials. So if you click onto the tutorials button there, okay, it's going to take you to this place here. Okay, it says on-demand learning at Traders University. Okay, you got Traders Academy webinars. Those are webinars that they post. Tools, widgets, glossary, all that. The one that I go into sometimes is the IB short videos. Okay, so you can look at the IB short videos here. It'll teach you a little bit about technical analysis. Believe me, you'll learn a lot more in Master Trader. Mechanics of short sale. You can all sorts of stuff here. Options, strategies, Greeks, Forex. You can learn all sorts of stuff in here. Frankly, what you're going to learn in Master Trader will be well beyond whatever they have in here. Okay. The one that I do like here is the TWS basics here. So if you click on there, you can watch that video. You can, if you're using an iPad, there's some subtleties to that as well. Understanding your margin requirements, all that kind of stuff is here for you. Okay. So you can go to their live and recorded webinars, all sorts of, like I said, they got a bunch of really good tools here. Like I said, I prefer these. Yeah, the short videos, view short videos. If you click that there, so those are courses and tours that you can take. If you click the short videos, you're going to bring up a bunch more. So it'll talk, you can start, yeah, so here you go. So you can get all sorts of videos in here, probability lab, options rollover. Like I said, you just got a host of all. It's basically like, whoa, what just happened there? Go back to here. So again, order types you can do there. Mosaic, you find out all about that platform. Like I said, there's just so much on here. TW Classic, that's what I use. TWS Classic, Web Trader. If you have an IB account and you don't let's say you're at work or whatever, and you can't download the actual software, you can actually use WebTrader as well. Again, it's a very kind of simplistic program, platform, if you will. It's not very robust. Okay, that's the beauty of IB. It's cheap commissions, but it's not very robust. Okay, so again, just kind of giving you a heads up here on this stuff. If you want to learn more, there's always ways to learn more. Okay, so that's probably the best thing that you can do there. You can talk to customer service too if you have some kind of issue, issue with your account, whatever. But again, there's all sorts of stuff here. Just use it as you need it, kind of thing. Okay. All right. Next on with this here. So one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to want to build a watch list. Okay. You may start out doing scans. You use FinViz for scan. You can use Thinkorswim for scans. They do have a scanning tool here, but I've never used it. So it's somewhere in here. Like I said, it's not one I use because I find that their tools on here are not as good as Thinkorswim. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to build a watch list. So it's as simple as clicking this little plus button. Does everybody see this plus button here? Can everybody type in? I just want to make sure you guys can see what I'm pointing at before I go any further. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, awesome. So if you click that little button there, it'll ask you if you got several accounts. Like I have, these are all my practice accounts here, right? So I have 4 or 5 practice accounts here. I just use any, and then you can name your watch list. So we can call it covered calls, right? And then just click OK. And it's going to make a tab up here in the left-hand corner, and it's going to say covered calls. Okay. So then we can start putting some equities in here. So we'll go with Archer. We'll go with AMD. We'll go with sorry, before I get too far. So when I typed in AMD there, it comes up with this list here, okay? So as you read this, Advanced Micro Devices is on the NASDAQ. You can have the stock, you can have the futures, you can have the options, warrants, all that. Every time when you're building a watch list, you want to click the stock, okay? And so what will happen is it'll put the contract in there for you, give you a bid, ask, all that kind of stuff, okay? Like I said, well, ADM, Archer Daniel Midlands. Again, we go click the stock. All right. You can click, like if you go in and let's say Coca-Cola, and let's say I put the options for Coca-Cola, what it's going to do is it's going to open the options down here for me. Okay. So if you're looking for the options chain on something, that's one way to do it. Okay. However, when you have this in your watch list, if you don't click on the stock, it won't keep it in your watch list. Okay. So Coca-Cola, we can put in Apple. Click the stock. What else we got here? Hormel. What else we got for good covered calls here? We got VIPs. We got what else we got? It's good covered calls candidates. We got US Steel. So you can just make yourself a little watch list here. Okay. Now the beauty of this is it's going to give you all your prices up front, and nothing you really have to think about once you've made this. Now this will stay here. This is whenever I get back into my paper trading, this will stay here unless I click that X button, and then it'll all go away. Okay, so that's as simple as it is to build a watch list. It's pretty easy. I don't know why I have today in there, but anyway, so once you built yourself a watch list, you can do a lot of things from this point. Okay, let's say we wanted to buy some stock. It's as simple as right-clicking on the stock, and then you're going to get 2 options here. You're going to get a buy or a sell. Okay, so in this case, we're going to buy some stock. All right. So you click the buy button, and then you get an order ticket that pops up. Okay. So it defaults automatically to 100 shares, which is fine. That's what we need for an option contract, right? It's always going to default to time in force for the day. Okay. It's going to have all your orders, right? You've got your limit order, your market order, your stop order, your stop limit order. I forget what's trying trying to think of what MIT and LIT. It actually gives you a tutorial on that. I don't use those. Basically, snap market. So what the snap market is it when it hits a price, the snap price is the middle. Once it hits that, it'll put in a market order. You can do a snap mid price, a trailing stop, all sorts of different things. Basically, for you guys, you're probably using limit or stop limit will be your main two areas when you first start. Okay. God, why can I not remember what that means right now? I'm having a brain fart. I apologize. Anyway, so it defaults to limit right away. And if we're buying something, a limit order, okay, actually, let me ask you guys, do you guys all know what a limit order is or what it means? Have you guys got that far in Master Trader yet? Not yet? Okay. Think more or less? Okay. Right about it, but don't understand it completely. Okay, well, that's good. Then I'll go through it. So when you think of a limit order, okay, a limit order is what you're willing to pay for something or better. Okay, so if I look at the bid ask here and I see 1041 and 1042, and I want to buy this stock, okay, let's say I'm only willing to pay say 1035 for this. Okay, so I put in my limit price here. Sorry, 1035. Okay. So what this says, what this limit order says is I'm willing to pay only 1035 for this or better. Okay, and that or better is the most important thing. So if this gaps down tomorrow, okay, so if this stock tonight overnight it's trading in Asia or it's trading in New Zealand or somewhere else, and this price moves overnight, and this thing gaps down to $10 tomorrow, instead of me paying 1035, it will automatically buy me 100 shares, and it will buy it at whatever that price is that's lower than 1035. Okay, so it's what I'm willing to pay or better. Okay, it'll never go above that limit. Okay, and so that's important if we're trying to get into a specific stock. Okay, if we don't want to pay too much for it, I know that AMD moves quite a bit. I can look at the ATR and I can say, you know what, I think it's going to pull back a little bit tomorrow, and I only want to pay 1035 for it. Okay, so that's a limit order. Now, the one that you're going to use when you start, when you actually get through Master Trader, they're going to talk about one called a stop limit. Okay, so this is what's called a buy stop limit. Okay, when we buy a stock, okay, we don't buy as. Let me go to Thinkorswim for a second, and I'll show you a stock here. Let's go to AMD. All right, what you guys are going to learn in Master Trader is that. Okay, so right now we're looking at these candlesticks. Okay, so AMD's come down, took a pretty good beating, and now it's right up around this 1060 level. Okay, well, because I know that 1060 level is resistance, we have a double top here. I don't want to buy it until it's above that price because I want to make sure that it's going up. That's called confirmation. Now, again, I know this might be a little beyond, but just try and let it sink in a little bit, and it'll make more sense later on. Okay, so I don't want to buy this, even though this is lower now. I don't want to buy this stock because who knows? It could come all the way back down to here. Okay, all right. Now, sorry. So, does everybody understand why I'm saying that? I always want things going in my direction before I get interested in buying it. So think of it as a car, right? So if you're driving a car and you're following a car and you're coming up to an intersection, right? Unless that person puts their blinker on, you really don't have any indication of what they're going to do. They could go straight, they could turn left, they could turn right, they could just stop, right? So what we're doing when we looking to buy stock is we're looking for confirmation. And so when you come up to a point of resistance here, what we're looking for is something beyond that to get into a stock. And so that's where our stop limit comes in. Okay. So even though this is at 1041 right now or 1042, I'm only interested in buying this if it's, what was the high of the day? So the high of the day was 1065. So I'm only interested in buying this if it gets to, say, 1070. okay? And the way I put that limit in when I go to buy it is I go and I put a stop limit. So we have a stop price and we have a limit price, okay? Now the stop price it's a trigger, okay? What happens is when you put in a stop price, it will only trigger that order when that price is hit, okay? So in this particular case, I don't want to buy this until it hits 1070, okay? And when it hits 1070, this order will go into effect. Now, because I have a limit price, okay, that never changes. It's what I'm willing to pay for it or better, okay? So in this particular case, I could actually put this as 1070 and say, you know what? As soon as this order is triggered, all I'm willing to pay is 1070 and I want to get in there. Now, I may or may not get filled, right? So if this hits 1070 and this order triggers, right? What happens if it gaps up to 1075? Well, my order might not get filled. Okay, it depends on how fast the stock's moving. So in this case, I like to give it a little bit of room. So what I do is I put 1075 in here, and as soon as it hits 1070, then it will put in my order and it will buy it up to 1075. If it gaps above 1075, it won't buy it for me. And if it's any better than that, if I can get it at 1070, it will buy it for me at 1070. Okay, because again, the limit price is what I'm willing to pay or better. Okay, does everybody kind of get that? I know I went through that pretty fast, but it'll be more clear when you take the Master Trader. But I think it's important to know this just so you can kind of do this with IB. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Awesome. Okay, so that's just a couple of the orders that you're probably going to use. Okay, like I said, limit, market order. I would suggest, and you'll find this out in Master Trader as well. We don't use market orders very often. Okay, because we can see right now that the bid and ask between AMD is only 1 penny, right? And that's the price that they closed at. If we actually look at it here on Thinkorswim, where this is live data, let's go in here. 1041 so it is. It's one point wide, which is good. The options are 2 cents wide, so that's not bad. Okay. The reason I say that. Sorry, I keep getting notifications there. The reason I say that is because if you get a stock, let's say we put in a market order, okay, and the bid ask, let's go to California Water Service, okay. So look at the difference between California Water Service. The bid is 1720 and the ask is 40.95. If I put in a market order, it's going to buy it for me at 40.95. Okay? So I would end up losing. Already I would be in the hole in a big way. Okay? So that's kind of why we don't use market orders very often. If you have a very liquid stock, it's not as bad. But again, I would just caution you to not get in the habit of using market orders. You're always going to want to use a limit. And if your order doesn't get filled, that's okay. There's a million other trades out there. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Is everybody cool with that? Awesome. Okay, Daniel, sure. Okay, so Daniel and Cecilia, when you say sure, do you understand what I'm saying or not? Because I'll go over it again. I think it's pretty important. Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys. There's no point in me going over this if we don't make sure that you guys understand what I'm saying, because that's why we're here, right? I want to make sure this is good for you guys. So when you're buying a stock here, like I said, it's pretty simple. Again, we're going to buy it on a limit. Okay, I'm only willing to pay. Like I said, I'm willing to pay 10.35, and if I get the stock tomorrow, great. If I don't, so be it. Okay. Now, there's other things we can do here. All right. See this button that says conditional? So this is where we can start to do different things. Okay. Let's say we want our order to just trigger at a certain price or a certain time or with a certain volume. We can choose all of these things. So I can click price here and I can click next and I can say, okay, AMD. It'll ask me for the stock. and it says, okay, if AMD is greater than or equal to, I could say 1070 here, okay, and click that. So what this says is the default price of AMD stock on the Smart Exchange, which is all of them, is greater than or equal to 1070. That's when this order will actually trigger. This is a condition that we're putting on this order, okay? And again, I know this is kind of a bit advanced, but it'll come to you guys soon enough, okay? So there's just things that you can do there. You can add all sorts of different, if you get a spike in volume, you guys will learn about volume in Master Trader. Volume is very important. You could put in a certain volume number. If it reaches that volume number, then you might want to buy in, okay? Or a certain percentage that changes during the day, again, you can buy in, okay? So advisor you won't use. What else we got there? You can put hidden orders in. Again, that's really advanced kind of. I don't think you'll actually run into that too much. Okay. What else we got here? That's pretty much it for the basic order. Now, time and force, we can change that to day order, good till cancel. They have good until the end of the month. Actually, they got rid of that one. Good till date. They got a bunch of other ones here, but mainly the two are day order and good till cancel. So when you put in a stop order, you're going to want to put it in good till cancel. Okay, that way it protects you even when you're not on the market. Okay. Okay, Cecilia and Blake. Hi, Greg. Sorry, Blake and I just jumped in. Where do you find the order ticket that you're using? Okay, let me get out of it and I'll get back in for you, okay? So let's go back to IB here. Get rid of our alerts. All right, so again, when we're buying something here, so we've already made ourselves a watch list here, okay? And if I just right click any stock, okay, on my watch list, it'll come up with buy, sell, and then I'll have a whole bunch of stuff down here that we'll talk about in a minute, okay? So basically, if I click buy or sell, even if I click sell, it'll pop up the same order ticket. So these order tickets will always pop up, okay? So then you get the order tickets, and again, you can buy, sell, whatever you need to do. And then, like I said, I just went through the conditional orders. And again, advisor and miscellaneous, you won't even be using. And that there is just extra stuff that, again, you won't even be using. Okay. Basically, the two ones that you're really going to need to know are the basic and the conditional. Those are the two things that you'll be using when you're buying a stock. Okay. Everybody cool with that? I see you're using IB. Does TOS have this feature? So TOS is a little bit different, okay? I'll just go off on a bit of a tangent here. So whenever you're using TOS, if you want to buy a stock, okay, you go into the trade tab, and if you're buying a stock, you click on the ask. If you're selling a stock, you click on the bid. So if I just click on this, it automatically pops up an order, okay, right then and there. So that's as simple as it is. It's even more simple in TOS than it is IB. Okay, you don't have to do the order ticket or anything. But I want to kind of stick with IB tonight. But again, just always remember with Thinkorswim, we buy on the ask and we sell on the bid. So if I click bid here, you'll see that it goes right to a sell order automatically. Okay. And if you want to learn more about Thinkorswim, for anybody who's got it in their package, I use Thinkorswim every Monday night on the onboarding labs, and I'm going through. Actually, recently I've been going through every order type that I can think of in Thinkorswim. So that's pretty valuable if you can get into the Monday night labs. Okay, so that's buying stock. Okay, now if we want to go into an option. And I know a lot of you won't be quite ready for that, but I'll just introduce this to you anyway because I think it's important. There's a couple ways to get into the options, okay? Again, if we right-click, you're going to see a bunch of stuff across the top here, okay? And you're going to see this kind of, I don't know what it almost looks like an infinity. Actually, it's a chain link is what it is, okay? You guys can see it up here. You see this option trader. If you click that there, what it'll do is it'll bring up a separate tab, and it's going to bring you up to an option chain. Okay, so automatically, because we were looking at AMD, it automatically brings up AMD. Okay, so when we pull this up, then we've got all sorts of information here. We've got our calls on the left side. Calls are always on the left. We got puts on the right. Okay, just give me 1 second. This iCloud thing's bothering me. Cancel. Okay, so like I said, calls will always be on the left, puts will always be on the right. This is our expiration date. So we got one April 20, 27, so on and so forth. Okay. When you're doing these things, if you're doing, let's say you're doing a covered call, okay, you buy the stock first, and then you want to sell a call on it, okay, and you'll have your rules. You guys will learn that in options 1, or I know we already went through it at the event there. But let's say I owned 100 shares of AMD, and I was selling a call. I would want to go 30 days out. So what's today, the 18th? So I'd be looking right around May 18th. So we'd have to go to the where it says expiries here, and then I go and I find May 18th. Okay, I unclick these, and the only thing that'll come up will be May 18th. You show cover calls on IB tonight? Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, but I'll go through an actual example before we're done, John and Ashley. Okay. So basically, we've only got, no, you're okay. So we've only got 4 strikes here. Let's say we want to go further out of the money. All we got to do to change the strikes is we can select this, deselect it, and then we can pick whatever strikes we want. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the mid strikes if they're available. Okay, and you just click close, and it brings up whatever's available. Okay. So when we're doing these things, if we were, like I said, if I owned 100 shares of this, what is a strict? Oh, do you mean a strike price? Yes. Yeah. So a strike price, that's the price when we're doing a covered call. That's the price that we're going to allow somebody, to take our shares away at. Okay. So if I bought, I'll kind of go through an example right now. If I bought this stock today at 10.41, okay, I wouldn't want to sell the 10. I wouldn't want to sell it for less. Now there will be a time where you guys will learn in the money cover calls. I'm not gonna muddy the waters right now. If I sold this, I only want to sell it at a profit, right? That's my whole job, is to make a profit. So if I bought this at 10.41 and I look at the strike prices here, I've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, I'm looking at 11 here, and I'm thinking that's probably the one I want to sell, because what I'm saying is I'm making a promise to somebody, okay? When I sell a call, I'm promising that person that they can take my shares away anytime between now and expiration at a given price. So in this particular case, I would sell this at $11. So what I would do is, remember how I said we always sell on the bid and buy on the ask? It's the same thing here in IB. So if I wanted to sell this call, I would click on the bid, and it would automatically populate this thing up again for me. Okay, and then I'll show you guys up here. So it tells me right off the bat what contract I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with an AMD May 18th 11 call, and the bid is 42 and the ask is 44 that I can sell this for. Okay, so in this particular case, if I have 100 shares, there's one contract equals 100 shares. So if I've only got 100 shares, I can only sell one contract. You can see that it says sell here. We've got one contract. And again, I want to get a certain price to sell that promise. And in this particular case, I can see the bid and the ask is 1 penny apart. So I want to get the middle, right? We're never going to get the best, and we're never going to get the worst. So as traders, our job is to try and get the middle. So in this particular case, I put in 43 cents, okay? And they're going to pay me $43 for the right to take my shares at 11 bucks. Does everybody understand that? If you don't, ask the question now, and I'll try and spell it out better for you. Okay, we got a bunch of yeses. Awesome. Good. Okay, so Pierre says, why quantity is 1 and not 100? Great question, Pierre. Okay, so when you have 100 shares, okay, one option contract equals 100 shares. Okay, so you basically, however many shares you got to divide that by 100, and that's the number of contracts that you will use. So in this case, we had our fictitious 100 shares, but an option contract covers 100 shares. Okay, so they did that. They put that. They implemented that to make it more organized and easier to use. But just know that one contract always equals 100 shares, and that's why the quantity says 1 here. Now, if we were buying shares, as it said before, the quantity was 100. But what we're doing is we're selling one contract which covers 100 shares. Okay? You go with that, Pierre? Awesome. Okay. So in this particular case, like I said, we have to own the shares first. Okay. We never sell naked calls. Never, 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 never sell naked calls. Okay. There's too much risk in it. Chances are your broker's not going to let you anyway, unless you have a margin account with a lot of money in it. Which again, I would recommend that you never sell naked calls anyway. So you always want to make sure that you have the underlying shares first. Okay. So in this particular case, we want to sell one contract. We're going to get 43 bucks for it, which is 43 cents times 100 shares, and we click accept. Okay. So now when we click accept, we haven't sent the order in for IB. Okay. All it's doing is telling us what we've done so far. And again, we're selling the AMD May 18th 11 call, and we're going to try and get in the middle. We're going to sell it. It's a day order. So what will happen is it will start tomorrow morning at 9:30. This order will go in, and if the price is available for 43 cents to sell it, then it will actually get triggered. Okay. So now when we click transmit, it's going to give us a whole bunch of stuff, right? It's going to tell us that I'm trying to submit an order without having market data, which we have delayed data here, but this is a paper account, so you're always going to get that delayed data. Okay. Now, if you have a live account with live data, you will actually have live data in your paper account. I just happen to be using an account that I don't have live data for. So, okay. So it basically tells us 43 bucks is what we're going to get. It also tells you your estimated commission. So for selling one contract, now I know you guys talked about this when we first started these webinars. If you go to try and sell an option with your bank, which I know a few of you were with iTrade, I think some of you were with RBC. If you go to sell an option through your bank, I would be willing to bet it costs you anywhere from $5 to $20. Okay, I know when I first started with Questrade about 8-9 years ago, they were charging me $12.95 plus fees to sell one option contract. Okay, you can see here that at the low end we pay 67 cents to do this trade, and at the high end we'll pay $1.59. And what you'll find is it's actually somewhere right in the middle. It might be $1 something to sell this this option. Okay, it's very, very cheap to use IB. All right. So it's just basically asking you to read over the thing. You click override and transmit, and it's going to give you another little disclaimer here, and it's just basically going to tell you they're going to sell it. They're going to try and get you the best execution possible. Okay. And so you click OK, and then it says that it's going to put in your order. Now, it says it will not be placed until 9:30 tomorrow morning. Okay, and everybody, that's just basically New York opens then, and that's when real trading begins. Okay, everybody kosher with that example. See some folks. Why did I choose the 11 call? Okay, yeah. So I have personal rules, Jocelyn. You could have picked the 11, you could have picked the 12, you could have picked the 13. Okay. What I do, let's go back to Thinkorswim so I can explain this better. Let's go to AMD. So I have rules when I do covered calls. Okay, my rules are I do 30 days out, and the reason I do these rules is through trial and error. Okay, I find that 30 days is pretty much the sweet spot for selling covered calls. Now, there is a caveat to that. If you have a brokerage account that charges you very high commissions, then I have no problem going out to 45 days. Okay, so if you think about it, if you do 30 days all year long, you're going to do 12 trades. Okay, But if you kick that out to 45 days, you're going to knock that down to, what, about 9 trades, something like that. You're going to knock it down, and that's going to be less commissions that you pay. So if you have a high commission rate and you don't want to change, then I would recommend, if you're doing covered calls, to just kick it out a little bit further. Okay. But the reality is, through my trial and error, I found that 30 days is the best. It's the best risk, not risk reward. It's the best time decay versus reward. Okay. So that's one of my rules. So if I were buying this stock today and then selling a covered call, what I do is I always go 1 or 2 strikes out of the money. Okay. And you guys will find, when you take your options 1 class, they're going to tell you to go with a 40 delta. Okay. And you can see that the 11 here. So I didn't even have to look at that. And I already knew that it was going to be right around the 40 mark. Does everybody see that? See where my cursor's pointing here to 0.40 delta? Yes, yes. Okay. So like I said, when you start to sell covered calls in if you take the options 1 course, they're going to teach you to sell them at 40 delta. And there's reasons for that, and they will go through the long-winded explanation. I won't bother with it. But the reality is I already know from trading experience that I'm either going out 1 or 2 strikes out of the money. And the way I look at this here, and this is why Jocelyn asked the question, is Pierre says 0.40 and less. No. For delta, so if we have a delta rule, Pierre, you want to go as close to 40 delta as possible. So sometimes you won't be right on 40. You might be 42, you might be 38, but you'll be very close to that, okay? But you want to get to 0.40 delta or closest to it. Not always less, it might be a little bit more, okay? The other thing you have to think of when you're doing a covered call is I look at this and I go, you know what, is it worth it if I go out to the 12, if I go to the 22 delta here, it's only getting me 21 cents. Okay, that's $21 on 1 contract. You know what I mean? So I look at that and I go, you know what, for me to make that promise, I'm probably going to go with the 11. Okay, now the other thing that you want to look at is the chart. Okay, so if I see this and I say, okay, this breaks up above, where's my next resistance? Well, I see a resistance at 11, and then I see another one right around 12, and then I see another one at 13. So if you think that this thing's going to blast up to 12, then you could absolutely sell the 12 call. Okay, that would be the second one out. You could sell that, and then you would collect more capital gains. Okay, so there's 2 things that we get from a covered call. We get premium for selling the option, and we get capital gains for selling the stock. Okay, so we always get the premium for the call, but we don't always get the stock. If it doesn't get that high, we get to keep the stock and do it again. Okay, is everybody cool with that? Everybody cool with that explanation? Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Cecilia and Blake. Okay. Cool. Excellent. All right. What else do I want to say about? Okay, so let's get back to IB here. So again, now what we've done is we've sold this call here, and again, I said that we had a fictitious 100 shares of stock. Okay, so let's get back to the main page here. So that's the option trader. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. It'll ask me to close it. Just click closed, and then what I want to get back to is my watch list. Okay, so when you're back in your watch list in TWS here, right? What I can do is I can go to pending, and it will tell me what orders I have sitting there ready to go. Okay, so it automatically puts pending up here. Okay, I didn't build that. And then I also have portfolio here. And you guys can see that I have 1 stock in here. I could actually sell, what I'll do is actually sell a covered call on Owings Corning here. Okay, so I bought this stock. You can see that I bought this a long time ago. Bought it for $50 and it's worth 81.28 right now, or actually a little bit more, 81.79 right now. So I've done quite well on this stock over the last little while since I bought it. Okay, so if I wanted to sell a covered call on Owings Corning, I already own 100 shares. Again, this is paper. If I wanted to sell a covered call on this, it's very simple. I just right click it, and it's going to ask me to buy, sell, or close. I don't want to do any of those because that does the stock. What I want to do is click that little chain looking thing. Do you guys see how that's like 2 links of a chain together? It's a really, really small little thing there. But if I click on that, then it's going to bring up the options chain for Owens Corning. Okay. All right. So again, I want to go back to my rules. My rules are that I am only willing to that I like to go 30 days out, and I'm usually looking for a 40 delta, or I go 1 to 2 strikes out of the money. Okay. So I'm going to show you something here because I think this is important too. Did I go over liquidity with you guys? Did I talk about that in the last couple of webinars? Do you guys remember me saying anything about that? Yes. Okay. All right. So this is what I was talking about when I talk about liquidity. So if we look at, we were looking at AMD. So AMD traded 42 million shares today, and you can see the options have lots of premium in them. Now, if we go to Owens Corning, OC, now you can see that they only did 700,000 shares today. Okay, and we can see that there's not quite as much money in the out of the way options here. Okay, if we look at the volume open interest, there's actually still a fair bit for OC, so that's good. Okay, so let's go back to IB here. We'll get back to our option train. Now, again, I want to go 30 days out, and we know that we're April 18th right now, so we're going to sell the May 18th. So I go up to expiries here. I deselect all of them. Sorry, select all and then deselect all, and then I just take the one I want, and what it does is it clears up the chain for me, okay? Makes it easier to read, okay? So these delta, gamma, vega, theta, you'll learn all that in options 1. The one we're concerned about is the delta. Excuse me. So remember I was looking for the 40 delta. Well, in this case, there is no 40 delta, but there's a 62 and there's a 34, okay? Now again, I always go 1 to 2 strikes out of the money. And if you look back here, the first strike out of the money is always the one in black here. Does everybody see that on Thinkorswim? Yeah, the 85 strike, exactly. So Thinkorswim here, you've got the 85 strike, and the second one out of the money would obviously be the 90. So the 85 is the one we're going to look for. Okay. So in this particular case, like I said, the one closest to 40 delta is the 85. So to sell that, we always click on the bid, right? So I click on the bid here, and it's going to pop up again my new order ticket. Okay, and then I can see that it says I'm going to sell the Owens Corning May 18th 85 call, and there's my choices: bid $140, ask $165. So when I'm sitting here thinking about what I want to sell my promise for, okay, I'm about to make a promise that I'm willing to let my shares go at 85. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to kind of get in the middle of those two, right? So if I'm looking at, if I go to Thinkorswim here, let me get rid of this. This is why I like to set things up in Thinkorswim. So if I click on the bid here because I'm selling, automatically this populates an order for me. Well, it also tells me what the mid price of that is. Okay, now we could have figured this out doing basic math, but it's also very easy on Thinkorswim. So this tells me here that I can get $1.50 for my promise. Okay, does everybody see that? Everybody understand what I'm saying there? Just want to make sure everybody's with me. So John and Ashley says, I don't see where it says 85 on the main screen. Okay. So John and Ashley, see how in the middle here, see where it says description? And then it says May 18th. All these numbers down here in the middle, that's your strike prices. So we have a 65 strike, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. Okay, cool. So we go back to our little order form here, order ticket. Okay, so I know that I can get at least $1.50 out of this. So I'm going to put in a limit order, which is what I'm willing to take or better, right? So in this particular case, because I'm selling something, I'm going to put in $1.50. That means that's the least amount that I'm willing to sell this promise for. Now, hey, if it gaps up tomorrow and they want to give me $1.55 or $1.60, I'll take that too. Okay, so do you guys see how it's changed on the sell side versus the buy side? On the buy side, I'm only willing to pay a certain amount. On the sell side, I'm only willing to take a certain amount. Okay, that can get a bit confusing sometimes, but a little bit of practice will help straighten that out for you. Okay, So again, I'm putting in a limit order saying the least amount I'm going to take for this option is $1.50. Now I want to put it in as a day order because if it doesn't get filled tomorrow, then I'll probably want to change the strike price anyway. Okay. So then I click accept, and then I'm going to review what I've done here. It says May 18th, that's 30 days out, 85 call. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell a quantity of 1 because I only have 100 shares, and I'm going to get $1.50 for it. Okay. Now Pierre says, if you only got filled with the option and not for the stock, what to do? Okay, so here's what I want you to do with that, Pierre, is I never want you to do the option order first. I want you to buy the stock first, and then I want you to do the option order afterwards. Okay? All right, so, and the reason I tell you to do that is there is a way to actually put in both trades at once, but I don't have I don't have enough time to teach you that just right off the bat here. Okay, if you guys end up in my lab, I could be able to do it, but for me to teach you that would probably be like another hour. It's a little more complex, but again, if you watch the tutorials, you can learn it there. And if you have any specific questions, send them to me. But in this particular case, as a beginner, buy the stock first. Make sure if you look in your portfolio here, so if you go to portfolio, make sure the stock's already there, okay? And then once it's there, then you can go and sell your option, okay? See, now I sold you. Maybe this is why it's a bit confusing. I sold this over here without owning the stock. This isn't a paper trading account. So tomorrow, if this thing gets filled and I'm naked to call, for me it's not a big deal because I understand what I'm doing, and B, it's a paper trading account, so it doesn't matter. But I do not want you guys doing that, because what this says basically is if I sell somebody the right to take my shares at 11, and it shoots up to the moon, right? Let's say this thing shoots up to, let's say AMD hits 20 tomorrow, right? What I have to do is I have to go in the market, I have to buy it at 20, and then I have to sell it at 11. So I actually have unlimited risk there, and I never want you guys in that position, okay? Everybody good with that? Never sell naked calls, okay? Not until you have lots of experience, and even then, you know what? Naked calls, you know what? If one goes against you, John and Ashley, it really can be painful. Okay, and what you're going to learn is if you keep going further, you're going to learn that a credit spread is always better than a naked call anyway. Okay, because you have protection on the top side. I won't get into that because again, that's hours and hours of training for credit spread. So anyway, like I said, at this point in time, what I want to do is I want to transmit my order. So I've reviewed it, right? I'm selling one contract day limit order. I want $1.50 for it. So John and Nancy said, does your limit price represent the premium you will receive? That's correct. That's the minimum premium that I'm willing to receive. That's the minimum. Okay. If I get more, great. If I get less, I'm not interested. Okay. Times 100, correct. So for me to sell this option tomorrow, I'm going to get 150 bucks. Exactly. So just remember, it's always one contract equals 100 shares. So yeah, you guys are on it. You guys are on top of it. So I click transmit, and then I review it again. I'm getting 150 bucks. Look at the commission. It's between 24 cents and $2. Okay. Like I said, it's the cheapest in the industry by leaps and bounds. Okay. I've got one account where they charge me $8.95 just to sell one option, right? And then unfortunately, it's because of our illustrious government that I have no choice. I have to do that. So commissions matter, okay? That's what I'm telling you. That's what I told you when we started with this little set of webinars here. Commissions matter big time. Even if you're small, even if you're trading small, which you most likely will be at first, commissions add up, right? If you guys saw my commission bill each year, it would shock quite a few of you, I think. So, and I don't trade. I trade a lot, but I don't trade as much as some of the mentors I've had. So, you can imagine how many. Let's put it this way: I'm putting my broker's kids through college with the commissions I pay them. So, anyway, that's the topic for another day. So we click override and transmit. And we click OK, and it's going to tell me it's not going to go until 9:30, and then it's going to sit there. And John and Ashley asked, would you still set a stop limit on the stock and also do the covered call? So would you still? Yeah. So I'm always, so whenever I'm buying stock, I'm always using a buy stop limit. Okay. So in the years that I've been trading, I've never changed that. Okay. Because I'll go back to the chart here because I want you guys to understand this. Look at this Owens Corning here. I don't want to buy this unless it's already going up. All right. Let me draw a little arrow here. Why doesn't it let me draw an arrow? It's supposed to let me draw arrows. No, well, let me draw an arrow. Basically, I look at this here. So this, we'll take this stock, right? It's sitting right at the 50 MA. Now I got to get a trend line out there. Let's go price level. It's sitting right here at this 50 MA, and it's basically sitting on a triple top here. Okay, so this tells me right now that this might have a hard time getting above it. You can see how many touches it's at here. You got some support back there. Like this is a pretty big price here. This 82, 82.50 here is a big price. The reality is this has as much chance to go down tomorrow as it does to go back up. Okay, if it starts to go down, I definitely don't want to buy it, right? I don't want to buy anything that's falling, okay? I want to buy stuff that's only going up. So in this particular case, if I were buying this, I'm putting a stop limit, a buy stop limit in above this price somewhere. I want to get so the high of this is 82.71. Yeah, I'm probably not buying this thing until, yeah, maybe even over 83. Okay, I want to make sure this thing's going up because if it's going down, you believe me, doing a covered call on something that's going down, it can help you still, but it's not fun. Okay, it's challenging. It requires a lot of adjusting, things like that. So, and believe me, you guys aren't there yet. So, just my recommendation to you, and again, you'll find this out on your own, but use a buy stop limit when you buy something. If you take when you get through the master trader, what they're going to teach you is they're going to teach you certain techniques of how to actually buy stock at the right prices. Okay, and all they're doing is they're teaching you confirmation. If you guys can learn that, believe me, you'll be very happy you did. Because what'll happen is, let's say I bought this tomorrow and I just said, okay, I'll pay whatever the price is now, and it turns around, I'm not going to be happy. But if I put it just above here tomorrow and it doesn't get there and it turns down, well, nothing happens. The order just sits there, and I'm happy that I didn't buy a stock that was falling. Okay. All right, so that pretty much covers it. Again, there's your covered call for your, we can go back and look at our pending orders here. Go back to pending. You can see I now have 2 orders for calls going in. Okay. Okay, so John and Nancy, what happens if you end up selling your stop before the 30-day expiry of your covered call? So selling your stop, okay, and so selling your stock. Okay, yeah. So if you sell your stock before your 30 days is up, you've got to actually buy back your call before you do that. Okay? And depending on the type of account you have, your broker will not let you hold a stock, will not let you sell your stock unless the covered call is gone. Okay, so you'll have to go into the market, you'll have to buy your own covered call back, buy your promise back, and then you can sell your stock. Now, why you would want to do that, I'll never know. But if you learn what's in Master Trader and the options one, you'll find out that we would never, let's put it this way, I've never had that happen. My stock always either goes away on expiration or I still have it at the end and I turn around and sell another call. That's the beauty of covered calls, is it's consistent income. Okay, and that's where mentorship comes in. You know what I mean? If you guys have a mentor, or if I'm going to be your mentor, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get you setting up your system so that you can sell covered calls over and over and over again. Okay, that's one of the best systems out there because it requires very little maintenance and it's just consistent income. It's the most consistent income that I've found so far. Okay. All right, so that's 8 o'clock, folks. Any last questions before we call it a night? Did you guys all get some value out of this? Are you excited about the prospect of covered calls? Good. Very good. Well, I appreciate y'all. And again, you have my email address. Um, so Johnny and Nancy, what about your Monday Night Labs? How can we sign up? Okay, so just contact the office, John and Nancy. They'll just tell them you want to be part of the labs. There's a cost to it. I don't know if it's part of your package or not. If it is part of your package, then of course there will be no cost for you. It's a monthly subscription. Like I said, I'm on Monday. I do the onboarding lab on Monday nights. Um, so is Wednesday? Yes, thanks. So is Wednesday and onboarding for stocks different from your Monday nights? Yeah, so this one that we did, Cecilia, this one that we did, this was just special for you guys. Okay, this was just to kind of get you guys going, get you a little bit of support now that you're part of the Legacy family. This is never we've never done this for any other class before. So these webinars were just to kind of get you going. Now the Monday night labs are different. So the Monday night labs are ongoing. I've been doing them for wow, I think almost 3 years now. I've been doing the labs, and basically we just pick a different topic every Monday night. We'll talk about you know last week we did credit spreads. The week before that we did protective puts. The week before that we did scans in the platform. So it's basically an extra weekly webinar that you just get some more information. Now the Wednesday onboarding, you might be talking. Are you talking about the tackle trading one? Because tackle trading has a coaches show as well, but that's different. This Monday night lab that I do is completely different. It's just for our new students, our new legacy students. Okay. Yeah, that's different. Okay. Awesome, you guys. Thanks so much for coming out. I appreciate y'all. I will be sending you out the link as soon as it's uploaded. I don't do the uploading, so I have to kind of wait till it gets uploaded. But as soon as I do, I will get it sent out to you. That link that you guys have, as soon as it's uploaded, that link should work. The first one I sent you, but if it doesn't, I'm going to send out the actual link anyway. So I will get it to you as soon as possible if you guys want to review this. Pierre, yes, absolutely you can, Jocelyn. Yes, you absolutely can. I want you guys to continue to send questions to me. I'm here to support you guys. That's what I do. It's what we do here at Legacy. So you have my email address. If you have questions, please send them along. I will answer them as quick as humanly possible. Yeah. So like I said, this never ends. The support that you guys get never ends. Okay, so I want you guys to keep going with the Master Trader. If you can get involved with the labs, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, absolutely, if you guys have questions, please send them along. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I appreciate you all, and we'll talk soon. Okay. Oh, by the way, Pierre, like I said, I will get you that link for the first one. I will. Hopefully, I'll have that done for you early tomorrow. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later.